welcome to our weekly craft, a source for ideas, inspiration, and fun for crafters. I'm Sarah White, chief maker at ourdailycraft.com, and today I want to talk about crafting as self-care and self-care in general, because I feel like a lot of us are kind of reeling, angry, sad, all the feelings from the last week. I feel like my post from last week feels like so innocent and naive and whatever, that I just, was making stuff for fun, right? Feels like the world is totally different, even though, we knew certain things were coming. Overturning Roe v. Wade was not a surprise, but it still hurt. And, I don't really feel like talking about anything today, but it's week 26 and I'm not going to stop doing these just because the world is hard, right? So, but the idea of self-care and like true self-care is more important than ever, I feel like, in times when things are hard and the whole world feels wrong. So what I'm wearing is the Pillars of Simplicity, which this was a test knit that I just finished for Perfectly Knotted. I think that it is coming out on the 9th of July. It's a really simple, top down. The top is stockinette, the bottom is ribbed. It's, hers was in the single color. I was trying to stash bust. I had this green left over from another project, and then I realized that it was going to be like super cropped if I didn't add a little bit of something else. So I went and bought the blue, which is actually a slightly different yarn. Lion Brand has True Boo and New Boo, and one is bamboo and one is lyocell, I think, which is from trees, I think, instead of bamboo. I can't remember exactly how lyocell is made, but lyocell, I don't know how it's pronounced either. But so they're slightly different. The gauge was similar enough, and I actually didn't realize that I was getting the other one of the one that I had until I had like bought it and knit a whole bunch, and then I went, oh, this is a completely different thing. Oh well. And it works together okay. It's a cute, easy summer top. That can be more cropped than I made mine, but I am not a cropped sweater kind of person. But the truth is, I haven't really felt like doing any kind of crafting for the past week. I finished this sweater up because I had to for the test. I've been doing some angry embroidery. I'm doing I can't see the words, but it is going to say July 4th canceled because of a shortage of independence. This looks weirdly like the Texas flag to me. Wasn't intentional, just wanted to do it on red, white, and blue. But so that's the main thing I've been working on, feeling a little stabby, and that's appropriate for right now in my feelings with things. But as always, I would say, it's okay if you don't feel like doing whatever your creative thing is, but it's important to not let you stay in that feeling of not wanting to do it for too long, because then it becomes a habit to not do it, where you want the habit to be that you are doing it and that you're creating through everything. Elizabeth Zimmerman, who's sort of like the grandma of modern knitting, said, I can't remember the exact quote, but it's basically knit on through all crises. And, that's what the world feels like it demands of us right now, is that we craft on, whether your crafting is making a political statement or just for comfort, which, just comfort is enough, or whether you're making for your livelihood because you're selling things, or, if you're selling things for fundraisers or whatever, that you're making, all of that is important and valid and useful right now. But I feel like it's really easy to neglect self-care amid the anger and confusion and everything of a moment like this. And I've been doing it myself. I haven't been crafting this week. I haven't exercised this week. I ate quite a lot of ice cream after my daughter went to bed last night. It's just, and that's okay for a little while. But then, I was doing my writing this morning, which I also hadn't been doing much this week. and, reminded myself that I know those things make me feel better, and like sticking in the feeling bad isn't productive for anyone. It's not helpful. It, just makes me feel worse. And so this weekend, I'm really going to make a commitment to like creating and finding some joy and doing what I can to not feel so stuck, and I mean, I'm doing the things, contributing, I set up my monthly contribution to an abortion fund, and, I'm looking for ways to support candidates, and it's really hard in Arkansas. We have a total ban on abortion that went into effect last Friday. The only exception is for the health of the mother. And it's possible, depending on how you interpret it, that IUDs are also illegal now. I'm sure that'll be challenged in court if anybody says, we can't give you an IUD because of the law. But we'll see. It's dark times, it's hard times, not just in Arkansas, obviously, but so I feel like, it's both. You do what you can in advocacy and, financial support and volunteering and supporting candidates and doing all the things that everybody's saying we need to do. But it's also, taking care of yourself in whatever way that looks like for you, but hopefully like some of the healthier ways. So like exercise and hydration and making things for us is like a really important part of that. And so this comes back to a thing that I briefly talked about last time, that is sort of a book idea that's percolating for me, about finding your whimsy, and whimsy being like the things that bring you joy, the things that are fun for you. And it's individual, of course, but in general, I think most of us who are crafters would find that crafting is part of your joy. But maybe that's a thing that you need to explore right now, is like, what are those things that make you feel good, that, give you energy instead of depleting it, that make you happy while you're doing them, that give you that feeling of ease and, support from the universe, if that's a feeling that you're familiar with, or connection to other people, or whatever it is that you're going for, that you need more of in your life. And it doesn't have to be things that take a huge amount of time, or like, I'm going to take all day and sew something or whatever. It can be that for sure, but if your life is busy and you're full of all the things that our lives are full of right now and all the time, just making sure that you're taking a little bit of time and being like, I'm going to knit while I watch TV, or I'm going to read this book, or I'm going to make something with my kids, or we're gonna bake some zucchini bread, like, right, it's zucchini season here in the States. So maybe you need to make some zucchini bread, or some regular bread, or a painting, or whatever it is that makes you feel good. I feel like, especially in advocacy circles, I mean, everyone knows that burnout is real, and that, we need to try and do the things to keep ourselves from burning out, and especially on abortion, or whatever your issue of the many dumpster fire Supreme Court decisions that came out this past week, whatever one speaks to you the most, that you feel like, oh, we really need to support the EPA, or whatever, putting pressure on corporations to pollute less, or whatever, however that feels. I don't know what the next step is for that, after they basically said the EPA has no authority to do what the EPA was set out to do, or if it's the prayer in school thing, or whatever else. We probably don't even know all the horrors that have been unleashed on the country in the past week. But, do what you can, but also don't like make that the focus of all your free time in your life, because you will burn out. All of these are long-term problems that are going to require long-term solutions. It's voting, it's protest, it's, funding things outside of the normal systems, It's finding the people who are already doing the work and supporting them. It's all of that, but it's a long process. And, you know, going all out all the time is not sustainable for anyone. And especially if you're new to these feelings of needing to do something, it can burn out really fast. And that's not helpful for anyone if you are, you know, an advocate for a month and then drop off the world and go back to your life. You know, that's not helping anybody long term. So we have to build in ways to keep burnout from happening. And that's not just for advocacy purposes, that's like in your work, in your life, in your everything. You know, we need a balance of work and fun and serious stuff and play and, you know, doing the protest art and doing the fun knitting a sweater. It needs to all be there. And so maybe this weekend we should all take some time to think about, you know, what are those things that bring me joy? What are those ways that I can refuel and get back into whatever it is that you need to do, whether it is, you know, gearing yourself up for a phone call to your senators, or, you know, doing your daily work, or, you know, whatever it is that's got you feeling like there's too much right now. It could be a lot of things, and I'm not in your life, so I don't know. But for me, it's the news mostly is what's a problem, and not knowing like how to, acknowledging that one person can't be in all the things, right? And like finding ways in my local community to be of help, and also doing the art and doing my own things that I feel can contribute to the well-being, not just of myself, but like encouraging other people to tap into those things that help them to recharge and balance and not burn out on whatever is causing the burnout at this time. So all of that is to say, you need a list, mental list, physical list, whatever. But I don't think that we take the time always to like be, oh, what do I find fun? What I like to do with my spare time. You know, we're just scrolling Instagram or YouTube, though, you know, like and subscribe, and then you won't have to scroll YouTube. Saved you some time. You know, or TikTok or whatever your social media of choice is, you know, or we're playing games or watching TV, and there's a lot of great TV right now, so I don't like fault you for that for sure. But I think it's rare to take the time to actually say, okay, like what of these things actually fuels me and feeds me and feels good when I'm doing it and feels good when I'm done with it, you know, and I don't be like, oh, I just wasted an hour on TikTok and I don't even know what I saw, right? Because that totally happens. I don't love TikTok, but that's part of the reason why, is just because you get sucked in and you're like, what did I just do with my life? I could have been sewing or whatever. So if you don't know what those things are, and it doesn't have to be crafts, it could be going for a walk, it could be taking a bath, it could be, and I hate to get into like take a bath, send the candles, whatever, because that's like the cliche of what self-care is supposed to be, and it's not necessarily that, but it can certainly be a bath, it can be yoga, it can be other kinds of physical activity, it can be reading, it can be creating, it can be all of these things. But I think that we don't often take that moment to be like, okay, what is it that I want to do? What is it that I have in the past found enjoyable that I can do right now? You know, and we don't want these to be like huge, expensive, time-consuming things. Like, you know, I like to go to the beach. I'm not going. We've been on vacation already this year. I'm not going to the beach again for quite some time. So that is not like available to me as a joy thing, but maybe I can, you know, find a webcam for the town that we visited, or I can look at my pictures, or like I wanted to do a photo book because we took one of my daughter's friends on vacation with us this year, so I was going to make them a photo book so they could each have a way to keep those pictures, you know, because if they're just on our phones, we know we're not looking at them on a regular basis. But if it's in a book you can pull out and look at, you might see them and enjoy them more. And it was just, again, that's a creative outlet too, is making the photo book. You know, and for me, it is a lot of knitting and crochet and sewing and embroidery and those things. It's also baking, it's also reading, it's also going for walks and doing physical stuff and watching TV with my husband and hanging out with my daughter and, you know, listening to her and her friends play video games, and which is happening this afternoon. You know, so I have a pretty good list myself. But if you don't, it's worth it to take a few minutes and think about those things and try to work some of them in this weekend and next week. We have a holiday weekend here in the US. I believe right now, as I'm doing this, July 1st, so we have a holiday weekend in Canada also. So wherever you are, you may not have that, but if you have an extra day this week, and use some of that time, and even if you don't have an extra day this weekend, use some time, even if it's just 30 minutes, reality, for a while. And so I started reading the Outlander series, which is massive. And the first book is 900 and some pages, and I'm about 200 pages in. And, you know, you've probably heard of it. Fantasy, time travel, whatever, romance, all the things. It's really easy to read, which is nice. I don't know that I'll make it through the whole series or do it. I definitely won't do it like back to back. That would take forever because it's immense. But yeah, so that's what I'm reading right now. I'm still reading Project Hail Mary too, kind of at the same time, because for some reason the Outlander I checked out, I can only read in the Libby app, so I can't read it on my Kindle. And so when if I'm out of the house, I don't carry my iPad around, but I can take my Kindle, so I'll read Project Hail Mary instead. And watching, we really didn't watch a lot of TV this week, but so still trying to catch up on Stranger Things. Looking forward to the next season of Only Murders in the Building that just came out. I don't know, there's just a lot. What else is new that's coming soon? For All Mankind, we only watched the first episode of that new season. We finished Obi-Wan, which, you know, was fine, I guess. I'm not that into all the series of Star Wars, but it was fine. You know, nice to see baby Leia do some fun stuff. And yeah, I don't know what else there is, but there are cats. I don't know if you could hear that, but the cats just ran up the stairs, and that's why I closed the door. But anyway, so I hope that you're taking care of yourself, you know, whatever side of all these issues you fall on. Self-care is important regardless of what's going on in the world, but it's especially important when there are all of these heavy news things, and it's not just the Supreme Court. You know, the war in Ukraine is still going on. You know, bits of California are on fire. There's a lot, you know, the police are still shooting people. Emmett Till, you know, still doesn't have justice all these years later. There's just a lot. And, you know, whenever you get in the news, it's a weight. And even if you're not, like, consciously trying to pay attention, it's there. You know, the mood in the world is hard right now. But just, you know, everything is weighing on people. So I just hope that whether it's craft or something else, that you're taking some time to take care of yourself and do some things that you enjoy, because that's really what life is about, right? You know, we have to work and do all these other things, but we need to enjoy ourselves in the pockets that we can. So I hope that you will take some time to do that, and I would love to hear what you're working on or what self-care projects you're working on, even if they're not craft related. And I hope that you have a good weekend and stay safe and drink water and all the things. Get some rest. We're gonna all need it. So
I will see you again soon.